Hi, I'm Joris, the head of production at Sutton Community Farm.
And I'm Will, the growing apprentice.
So we're here to give you a little update on the growing. So in 2019 was a very exciting year. We increased our polytunnel area for increased production for wholesale and to our veg box scheme. And when we spoke to you last time, we were talking about the difficulties we had with our wholesale, losing some customers, and in the end it was actually a poor year. We missed our targets, and mainly due to problems in the wholesale market, but also some problems in production. So this year we've improved the way we're using our data, and so we now use 4-year average of our historical crops or harvests to make sure that we're getting a more consistent forecast going forwards.
So the problem with this average is that you can't tell the year-to-year variation within that average, which is where we brought in the standard deviation, which gives an idea of, say, a very stable crop, like chard. It follows a very consistent year-to-year yield. And so that would have a low standard deviation, whereas cucumbers, which can fluctuate massively,
Bad year.
easily 1 to a massive yield. But the mean does not give you an accurate description of that, but the standard deviation does.
So in 2020, we're gearing up again for another big year with the restaurants. We've got lots of new customers on board, and then with the advent of COVID and restaurants closing down, we had to really look at what our plans were and change them around a little bit. Thankfully, with the increase in the veg box customers, most of our produce has found homes. We've had to reduce our salad growing a bit, and it looks like we'll have a surplus of a few hundred kilos of tomatoes, but some things we managed to tinker to make sure that we're producing what we can for the veg box scheme. Some highlights from this year?
Yep.
So beetroots, a few years ago we had a disastrous year, but then last year we improved, and actually within the first 3 weeks of harvesting beetroots, we harvested as much as we had in the entire year before. Now this year again.
So this year, just the first few weeks, we've harvested 250 or 300 kilos, and we're going to follow that by a weekly harvest of 250 kilos until we sow the second batch and plant it out, in which case we should get even more. So already we're at 750 kilos.
And last year, the entire year, we actually only harvested about 500 kilos. So great news, beetroots are looking up. This year we had a very good year for the broad beans, so we changed the way we're planting them. We're planting them in the spring instead of overwintering them, and this has doubled our production. And garlic.
And the garlic. So normally we buy the garlic from Isle of Wight, and we buy it in just as tiny bulbs, and it's not an organic supplier, so we were looking for an organic supplier this year, and Nick found one based in the Netherlands. And this variety, they were much fatter, chunkier pieces, and they have now caused us to have another record harvest. We managed to harvest 4 whole beds of fresh garlic, just thousands and thousands, and we've got 20.
Yeah, it generally seems like a lovely quality.
Yeah.
We've also been changing the way we're growing aubergines a little bit, so we're experimenting by growing some of them going up strings where we're training the plants versus letting them go wild with bushes. We don't quite know how it's going to work out, but we're hoping to get a few more aubergines by putting a little bit more effort into looking after the plants. So it's been a great year, and thank you very much.